again, welcome back to Module 2. This one is working with Monogame. Recap what we've done. We've done creating your project, doing your content pipelining stuff. Then we'll create the sprite class, then we'll create the player class. And now, at the very end of the last video, I said that we're going to do collisions. But, what's the point in doing collisions if I actually haven't got anything to collide it with? Okay, so I'm going to change this to, and we'll do this at a later one, but that'll be lesson, it might not even be lesson 5, I might not be able to do it lesson 5, but we'll just see how it goes. Lesson 4, we'll do, instead, creating an enemy class, and creating some enemy AI. Right. So this is going to be nice and simple, because a lot of this is going to be taken from the player class, the way it's put together. Let's add to the project. Let's add a new class, and I'm going to call this one the enemy. This is going to design what an enemy is. Okay, so an enemy has a sprite. And so we'll start there. Then we'll put the constructor in, public enemy, put the constructor pop components in. I'm just going to reference the player class so I just quickly know what I'm doing. Sprite, so that'll be sprite. This dot sprite equals sprite. Yeah, that's good so far. Then we're going to have a method for drawing them in. Public void draw enemy. This, again, it's going to be the same. Sprite batch SB. Anybody notice where I've gone wrong? We need to get those directives in. We'll just put the graphics in for now, and just see. Depends on what we need. I think we might only need graphics for the enemy. Then we're going to do sprite dot draw sprite SB. That's done. Done that one. Next. Let's bring the enemy into the project. So we'll put we'll put the enemy in, and then I'm going to go back to this later. Enemy one. I'll just put enemy. Then same as before. Enemy equals new enemy. Earlier on, I had already created the enemy sprite, see what it looks like, and I gave it the name enemy sprite. Okay, nice and simple. So the first thing in there is a sprite, new sprite, and it's going to be enemy sprite, and the start position, new vector 2, and we'll do it 400 by 50. Just put somewhere near the top, but not too far over the top. Then we're going to need to put enemy dot draw enemy sprite batch, and then we also need to put some that load content method in there. So that was public void load enemy content manager content. I've got that error saying that I could not find that namespace for content manager. If you click in on the little flashlight on the light bulb, you can actually just have it typed in for you. There it is. There, it's now appeared on the top. Then give it a body. Done. what do I want it to do? I want it to do sprite dot load content sprite. Content. That looks good. And then in the game class, you see why we do it this way is because it really does make things much quicker when we don't have to keep loading in each one one at a time, while we're just using the file name. It's much quicker than the way I used to do it before. Let's start it and see what happens. Always good to test it. Always good to test. Just from the program for the first time, and here it comes. There we go. So I've got my spaceship and I've got my little enemy sprite. That's done. Note that it's not colliding yet because I haven't told it to collide. I haven't done any checks or anything like that. So how do I want to do this? Really, we've got to start playing around with rectangles, so we're going to start folding into something different. Let's do some AI, something that's a bit more fun with the enemy. Public void update enemy. Yeah. Right, what did I do with the player to get the player's position? Yeah, I used just sprite dot. So the enemy has a sprite as well, so we can just use sprite dot position dot. I'm just going to do something nice simple. Plus equals. Let's get a speed in there for the enemy as well. Float speed. Float speed. Mr. Comma. This dot speed equals speed. That'll do. We'll change that in a second. Plus equals speed. Game 1 class, fix this. Add the speed. It's 20. Back to the enemy. And with any luck, he'll just run and then he'll just keep floating and he'll keep moving down really, really quickly. It's not, because I haven't ran that method. So, an update. I've got player.update. I need to do enemy.update enemy. And then hit run. And that will just, one of them will just fall straight down. Oh, right, there you go, straight away. It's really, really fast. Let's do it really slowly, so you can actually see what's going on. But hey, there we go. So we've got an enemy moving now. Right, so to get anything else going on the enemy, if I wanted to do collisions, we need to add something else to the sprite class, I think. So draw sprite currently just uses there we go, it just uses a texture, then it uses a vector 2 for position, and then color. After that, we could really be doing some more. Could add a rectangle into here. That's what we're going to do next. So let's create a rectangle. Public rectangle. Rectangle. What is that rectangle going to contain? That rectangle is going to be, we're adding it to the constructor, but we're not actually passing any values. We're going to just get everything from the texture and the position. So equals new rectangle, and rectangle holds four things: an x and a y, a width and a height. So we're going to use the position of the sprite, position dot x and position dot y. Then we're going to use the texture dot width and texture dot height to fill in that rectangle. Got a bit of an issue. This is why I hate working with vectors and rectangles. In a way, you do want your sprite to move around, up, down, left, right, and etc. But you might want to move it in half numbers, so you can have a more accurate glide. But rectangles only work with integers, and here it's saying that you can't convert a float into an integer, which we looked at in one of the earlier lessons. So I'm going to look at what else we can have with this. It doesn't seem like I can have much of an option at all. I'm going to put that rectangle in. And just see what happens. So this is now public. I'm using this, but sorry. So we've got to fix this error. So I'm just going to cast it to an integer, or convert it to an integer, and hopefully that would work. In my game class, just to test this works, I have an enemy sprite and a player sprite in my project. So going back to why we've gone back and done a sprite thing, we've made changes to the sprite class, but it should make changes to both the enemy and the player. Right, so in my game class, I'm going to write a very, very easy check to see if these collide. Which means I've got to make this sprite public. This is not good practice at all. Shouldn't keep setting everything as public, and I really want to set those back to not being public. I don't really think I'm going to have much option other than getters and setters, but that's just overcomplicating things at this stage. Let's try player. If player dot sprite dot rectangle dot intersects. Right, so this is a boolean, or a true and false, to check whether the player's rectangle intersects with another rectangle. That would be enemy dot sprite dot rectangle, and then what happens? I'm going to just type in exit, and that closes the game. So if I intersect with the enemy, if the player intersects with the enemy, the game should close. Game should close. Oh dear. Right. So now right. That texture is empty, but it shouldn't be empty. But the problem is this. For the rectangle, it's happening here, and then here it's getting the texture, but it can't get the texture because essentially texture is null here. It hasn't got any texture in until this happens. So I'm going to cut that out and move that there. So we'll set the texture first before running, setting what that rectangle is. Cross our fingers. Yes. 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 Oh, the sprite's totally gone. Strange. And also nothing's happening when they collided. What has happened? What has happened there? I've never seen that. In all of my time, I have not seen that happen. Wow. Wow, okay. Also not colliding. Hey, excellent. Right. It's terrible. I wonder why that is. I wonder why that is. Is it to do with the rectangle I've just done? Oh, it's source rectangle. That is source rectangle, not the position of the sprite. That's source rectangle. There are two different things. There is source rectangle and destination rectangle. So source rectangle is the location on a sprite sheet. Destination rectangle is where I want it to appear. I want to look at source rectangle in a much later episode, so we're just going to change that so it's just texture rectangle color dot white with any luck. I've got a horrible feeling everything's just broken. Yes. So I'm going to have to make a load of changes. Well, actually, I might not make a lot of changes. I still want to use position. I'm taking the rectangle out of load content, and I want to set the rectangle every frame. I want to set the position of the rectangle every frame. So if I want to do that every frame, that means I've got to create a new update method in the sprite. In my sprite class, I'm going to do public void update sprite. Then paste that in there. I'm still not running the method anywhere. I could put it in my game class, but that's not a good thing to do. I want to put it in the player class because so before keyboard happens, I'm going to use sprite dot update sprite in there and run that method there. I don't need to do the same in the enemy class. Wrong one. Sprite dot update sprite. Run that. Press start. Yes. Yes. Is it going to work? Yes. Excellent. Right, should we test the collision? That collided and the game ended. Mint. That is absolutely spot on. That's exactly what I needed. So, a few things then. We've had to alter the sprite class, and we've had to, and we have designed the enemy. Altered the player class as well. Make sure we've included that updates, sprite.update sprite. And we've also done collisions. That was a demonstration of collisions, but that is not a good way to do it, because there might be lots of different enemies. So, covered collisions, which is quite fortunate, but I want to do it properly. So, let's do instead an enemy, a level manager. A level manager, yeah, or a game manager. A game manager would be a good thing to do. Let's design what I need for this. Well, we've covered collisions. That was easy enough. Level manager. What do I want to have in a level manager? I want to have a list of enemies. I could even have a list of players. Yeah, we'll start there. I think that is a good point to end, and we'll start creating that level manager. Alright, so that will bring the end of that video. That was 21 minutes, that wasn't too bad. Thank you very much. Check out the next lesson next time.